Hi and welcome to Viking and Viking. I'm at Billingen and I'm presently at Gothenburg Central Station because today I'm going to Varnhem and the first part will be by train. So first I'll take the train to Skövde where I'll meet my partner and then we'll continue from there. It is a bit crowded, but usually all the bikes fit, but today there are unusually many bikes. So this is Skövde and this is my partner Gunilla. And now we're heading to Varnhem to the west. Let's go. So this is the city center in Skövde. It's not a very big city, so we'll soon be out of the city center and on the countryside. Now we're out of the city center of Skövde and entering the suburbs. It's a really beautiful morning. It's start of the summer and the sun is shining. Following one of the routes, Västgötaleden. It's marked with red signs. The Västgötaleden is one of the bike routes that span the region, and it's often on previous track lines, train tracks, which I think this is. So it's perfect. It's just a not too heavy decline and no car traffic, and you're in the middle of the nice forest. This is Billingen, the mountain range or hill range outside Skövde, which we have to pass over. We have just worked our way up to the top and soon we'll head down for the plains and Varnhem. So now we're heading down to the plains where Varnhem is. You can actually see the old church sticking up over the trees, which is also in Varnhem. So Varnhem is the heartlands of the Götar, the Geats as it's called in English, or Goths sometimes. So all this region belonged to one of the tribes, Götar. There were some other tribes as well, but this was really in the center of everything. Varnhem and the close by city Skara was where the trade routes were. And in Varnhem they have made excavations of an old church. And this church has a crypt which is from the Viking age. There are of course very few buildings from the Viking age, as everything was built in wood. There was no real reason to build anything in stone here, as wood is abundant and you need the insulation to keep warm. And also in the Viking age they didn't have the knowledge to build in stone. That came with craftsmen and people from Europe who actually helped them build the stone houses here. Well, the trade was quite extensive in the Viking age, so that also meant crafts and people who knew crafts, so they could also come here and do their speciality. This is very good farmland, and the family who lived here were quite rich, which they have seen from the remains they have dug up. And when we enter the church and the museum over the church, you will see the story revealing about the family who used to live here. Another site and a very big building here is the church of the old monastery. It's not Viking age, it's more from the medieval ages, but it's still very worthwhile visiting, and it's quite an impressive building. But we'll head past that today and up to the hill to the museum from the Kata Farm from the Viking age. This is the museum, so let's head inside. The church is placed on a farm which belonged to Kata and her husband, and it's known that she was actually called Kata because of the finds that they have found when they did excavations of the area. Because in the crypt were a grave, and you can actually see the grave down here. And on top of the grave, it was very well sealed. There was signs of a previous stone or another stone, and that had been found before it, and it fitted exactly. And on this rune stone, it says that the grave is from Kata. So they dug up the skeleton and did DNA analysis of it, so they can actually trace everything about this Kata who had lived here. And they could see that she had been living a rich life. There were no tendencies of any hard labor. Her teeth were very good. No diseases, no joints problems. And then it was concluded that it actually was a rich woman who had lived there. There were also remains from her clothes, which have been reconstructed. And if you visit the museum in Skara, you can actually see the reconstruction of Kata. This is a model of the old church that was built in the late 10th century. It was a wooden church and it belonged to the farm, to Kata Farm. And under it there was the crypt that you can see in the background. Later on, this church was replaced by a stone church that was built around the original church. And it was, of course, bigger and more impressive. And as it was set on a hill, everybody could see that this belonged to a very rich family. This is all for today. We can recommend a visit at Kata's Farm in Varnhem and also the church by the monastery. But now we are moving on. Bye for today.